And welcome into the Gabe Show featuring Jared Koller on KC Sports Night here at KCTV5, where Gabe is back again by popular demand. Why? Because that's what the people want. And because on a holiday week, sports staffing, a lot of sullenness. So Marlia was by herself Monday, and Neil by himself yesterday. Today it's me. So Gabe, we saved the best for last. Just high-level sports talk coming your way over the next 30 minutes. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Thanksgiving Eve. Gabe, I want to start with the Chiefs, but specifically DJ Humphries, because today a lot of Chiefs fans met him for the first time, or if you haven't, you'll hear him on our 620 Sportscast coming up here on KCTV5. He spoke to the media for the first time. I don't know how much you listened to it, but very engaging guy, funny guy, but could tell that he's confident in himself, glad to be in Kansas City, and I think if he can solidify the left tackle position, he was already going to be loved, but now when you listen to him talk, you can tell that he might be a fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking for a good amount about being sold on Kansas City by DeAndre Hopkins, who he played in Arizona with. And he hasn't had necessarily the futility of the career of playing with some frustrating Texans teams and some frustrating Cardinals teams and some frustrating Titans teams like Hopkins did. But he never – I mean, he made the playoffs once with Arizona, but then was one and done and lost immediately. So it's not like he's had overwhelming team success. So when he was saying DeAndre Hopkins was like, it's great here. I love it being in the building and trying to tell him all about Kansas City. He's like, stop. I watched the games on Sunday. I could tell that those guys are having fun. So which I think is telling that that translates to NFL players across the board, because I think NFL players used to enjoy playing in New England because they won. I don't think they necessarily enjoyed the process of playing for the Patriots organization as much as people seem to do playing for Andy Reid and playing in Kansas City.
Right. You have to love winning to play in New England. If you are about yourself as well, like you can like winning, but if you also want to have personal success, like if you're not a football-first guy, I don't know if you'd like playing in New England. Like, do we think Travis Kelce could be dating Taylor Swift if he was playing for the Patriots?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean,
I don't know.
Brady dated Giselle.
Yeah, that's true. But that was the quarterback.
I just don't know if it would have been embraced as much as Andy Reid has.
That's a great point, because I don't know if you saw, but the Dave Merritt's
I just wrote about it. It's on our website now.
Taylor Swift making the team victory Pop-Tart cinnamon rolls.
Yep.
Chris Jones's wife or girlfriend or fiance or something, some relationship there, which is awesome just by itself. And now DJ Humphries, maybe he'll get some victory Pop-Tarts one of these days.
Who knows how quickly he'll play.
Doesn't sound like he's going to play on Friday, of course. But listen, they're trying to win. They're 10-1 without him. Their goal is to have a great offensive line in the playoffs, and I think by the time postseason rolls around, he probably will be your left tackle. If I had to guess, obviously we haven't seen him, but he brings the pedigree for sure. So without Humphries, though, on Friday, Gabe, what are your expectations for this Friday game? Is there a specific storyline that you're especially intrigued by?
Well, we had the digital version of this show yesterday with myself and Greg, and we discussed what we were looking forward to. And I said that I think that seeing the continuation of the passing game improve and just kind of get back to the old ways, whether it's working in Noah Gray as a more prominent role or whether it's Hopkins. I thought Worthy had a really solid game against Carolina, and there still was not a huge deep connection that has been hit on yet. So I want to see that. I also just want to see if the Chiefs can get home and get some pressure without bringing extra guys, considering that they should be at home, fired up, divisional game, home crowd behind them. There should be some noise advantage. It's not necessarily the most threatening Raiders pass attack. I know that Brock Bowers has been really good, and he's in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But yeah, Aiden O'Connell completed one pass in the final three quarters last year on Christmas Day.
And they still won, so.
Yes, which I think is one of those.
Speaks to how nuts
how fluky that game was, yes.
I mean.
So I'm looking forward to the pass rush and the passing game offensively.
Yeah. The Raiders, as you said, had that one pass, and all of their most of their scoring came within a 7-second span. And just a weird game. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs would be more fired up for this game than the Panthers game. Confirmed today, head coach Antonio Pierce says that Aiden O'Connell will start. If they can't win this game in a blowout, what game can they? And I think that's the storyline a lot of Chiefs fans are kind of the talk of, both diehard fans, but also the casual fans. Like you heard Brad and Carol, or you might have heard Brad and Carol at the end of the 5 o'clock news. They're like, can we just get one easy game? And it's like, now last year they only really had that Bears game, and I think it is hard to blow teams out in the NFL, but it's got to the point where it's like, what are we doing here? I think that's a little unfair because I don't think that's a predictor of postseason success, which is what everything gets measured by. So I would like an easier victory, but I'm not as worried if they don't. But if you look at their schedule going forward, the Raiders are the worst team, that they have remaining. Yeah. So this is their best chance to do that. And so I guess I'd like to see it just, kind of get that monkey off the back and show that, hey, no, we're a wagon.
There's a difference between in the NFL where the margins are thinner and football just being fewer possessions and not the variety of basketball where you could win by so many more points. I think that it ultimately comes down to the fact that there's a great difference between blowing someone out and winning comfortably. And I think that winning comfortably is what Chiefs fans want more than they don't really care about winning by 20 plus. It's more of can they win without needing to make a play on the final play of the game.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they will on Friday. I'm not predicting a blowout, but I don't expect it to go down to the last game because I think they're very close. I think the pressure they're getting more pressure than they're giving credit for, and so I think that'll help. I think the additions, Isaiah Pacheco, which we knew this yesterday because they were full practice participants, but confirmed today. Isaiah Pacheco is back. I think that'll help the running game. Charles Minua back. I think that'll help the depth. Potentially, not DJ Humphries on Friday, but I think the offensive line won't play as bad as they did. Well, Max Crosby's good, so maybe that's about a wash. But either way, I think the passing attack did look good in Carolina overall, and so I think they're starting to come around.
I also think that they're just paid. Like most NFL teams don't have the ability afforded to them to pace themselves.
Yeah.
And this is an organization that has played in the AFC Championship game in 6 straight years, and anyone who's been on the roster for the last 2 has played
a lot of
17 regular season games plus 3 playoff games 2 years ago, 4 playoff games last year. Like it's just a lot on the body, so I can understand.
You can't bring it every single week.
Exactly. There's just no way that the human body is and mentally locked into.
Right, just like Chris Jones can't go 110% every single snap. Like there's going to be times where he takes a play off on the sideline or on the field. I think that's important to keep in mind. All right, let's talk some college football. Gabe, first of all, when I immediately just said your name in college football, Kenny Dillingham is the man. Like, I watched his reaction to the BYU controversy 500 times, and it made me laugh every time. And then his press conference, I've seen I don't know why all of a sudden I've got Arizona State Twitter on my feed, but I've
broken your algorithm.
Yeah, maybe that's it. But I'm in, and they've got a shot at the college football playoff. However, Kansas State hoping that they don't. I guess
I want Kansas State to get more respect. From the playoff committee, and I want the Big 12 to get more respect selfishly because it would help Arizona State, but also I think it's absurd and ridiculous that Tulane is 7 spots ahead of K-State, despite the fact that K-State went to Tulane and beat them on a day where K-State didn't even play very well.
Well, same with SMU and BYU. And Clemson stinks. Clemson should have lost to Pittsburgh and not too long ago.
Got blown out by Georgia.
Their schedule is nothing, yet they're the 12th team. Now, I don't really think there's a 12th team that I would be I think there's a flaw in every scenario there. If it was Alabama, I'd say they suck. If South Carolina, So I don't know if there's a right decision, but no, the top 25 is a mess.
I have Boise State fans all over my Twitter mentions today.
Really?
Because I tweeted last night Arizona State. I just tweeted two statements of fact. Arizona State beat Wyoming by 41. Boise State beat Wyoming by 4. Those were 2 sentences tweeted. No other opinion shared. And I have a lot of people whose Twitter feeds are like at Blue Turf 14 going off. So
I mean, I would not want to argue with the Blue Turf. That's, they're a different breed up there in Idaho.
Yeah.
I've got nothing bad to say about Boise State, all right? If you're watching
I'm an Ashton Jeanty fan. I think he should win the Heisman.
If you're tracking Gabe Swartz, if you're feeding the Facebook live comment section right now, don't at me, all right? Boise to the moon, okay? Either way, for this Saturday slate of our local games, Kansas, big game because they don't want to lose a Baylor and not have everything that they've worked to get to this point for loss, because it's still a better finish than a lot of people thought. But you want to finish off this hot stretch so you can get to a bowl game. Mizzou, final game at Faurot Field. They're looking to go undefeated at home for the first time in a while. Final game for Brady Cook, Luther Burden, and to get to 9 wins, which would be impressive, against an Arkansas team that does have a nice win over Tennessee. They're not as bad as they were last year. And then Kansas State, still with a glimmer of Big 12 championship game dreams alive at Iowa State. What intrigues you about that lineup, Gabe?
I mean, yeah, Mizzou having the chance to go undefeated at home is certainly interesting to me because of the way that the Auburn game went, the way that the Boston College game went, and the way that the Oklahoma game went. I wasn't even thinking about Vandy. All of the home ones, it feels like we're in at least some level of doubt for a little bit of time. Yeah, I guess that one slipped my mind, but I would say specifically the Oklahoma game felt like stealing it to a little degree, and then Auburn was just like, I can't believe that Brady Cook got back into the game, and then immediately it all kind of worked out for them. So interested to see that. I think Arkansas is kind of like Jekyll and Hyde of whether they're good or not on a week-to-week basis.
And Arkansas has never won in Columbia.
Never.
I don't think so. If so, it's been like 100 years.
Wow, okay.
I'll check that.
Okay.
Gabe's going to talk while I look up.
Yeah, I mean, KU, that one is basically a toss-up in Waco, but for as hot as KU has been and the fact that they've won 3 straight games against 3 ranked teams, Baylor has won 5 straight. So they are one of the hotter teams in the Big 12 as well. And then K-State and Iowa State, I think, should be an incredible game. And at the very least, K-State can salvage, I think, what would still be considered a disappointing 9-win regular season. But you could also do something that would be fun, which would be spoil Iowa State's chances to go to a Big 12 title game. And I think that K-State fans would love to do that. So
I especially for Kansas State, I think Mizzou's season I think a 9-win Mizzou season would be a little bit more disappointing than a 9-win Kansas State season, given that there weren't as many eggs in this year's basket for Kansas State as there were at Mizzou, in my opinion. By the way, go ahead.
But the way that the rest of the Big 12 went, if you don't just give away the Houston game on the road,
I think it's similar. But you can say the same thing with Mizzou. If they play defense for one more minute against South Carolina, they are in the college football playoff right now. You could even make a case if they just played close at Bama or A&M, they have a much better shot. And this was the last year with Luther Burden, last year with Brady Cook.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got Avery Johnson coming back next year.
Fair.
But
it's a worthwhile debate.
I'm also not in the camp of saying a 9-win Mizzou season is even that disappointing. Like, I think you can be disappointed that you could have gotten to the college football playoff and you didn't. But, like, going into the year, Gabe, if you said Mizzou goes 9-3, would you take it? I would say yes.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like the times where Mizzou fans get into my Twitter feed, I have lower expectations. It seems like it's people who are a little bummed out. So.
Oh, I'm just because this team was good enough to do better than that. I'm not saying that was their ceiling, but like if you said bank that. It's hard to win in the SEC. Like, I mean, it's hard to win college football games because SEC isn't that great this year. But just in general, like we're seeing that with KU is fighting to get to 6 wins, and then I can't be like, oh no, 9-3, win. I can't do that. Mizzou has never lost to Arkansas in Columbia ever.
Wow.
In 1944, Arkansas beat Missouri in St. Louis, Missouri. So they do have a win in the state of Missouri, but not in Columbia.
Interesting.
Their first meeting was in 1906.
So Arkansas is attempting to make history in Columbia. I think Kansas is trying to make it. There's some stat about 3 consecutive bowl seasons for Kansas that has not been done in a significant amount of period, if it has ever been done.
No, I don't think
in
it
Kansas
has.
history. So
2 was rare.
I think that Kansas winning on Saturday would be kind of the cap on one of the like Mount Rushmore of Kansas football greats careers for Devin Neal.
Yeah. Oh, well. No, that's true. By the way, Missouri beat Arkansas 50-48 in 2020 with Connor Bazelak and Nick
Just
Bolton.
enjoying a Wikipedia
That game was
research.
a wild game. I saw that, a 50-48. No, and I'm glad you brought up the name Devin Neal because, in my opinion, that was the story of Saturday. If you watched KC Sports Tonight, Neil Jones and I talked about it. His performance against Colorado, like, I hope KU fans appreciate how awesome he is because he's not a guy that comes around every year at KU. He's not a guy that comes around every year at a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Like, in the last 5 years, Gabe, there's been 3 local running backs that have absolutely taken over games. In my opinion, Deuce Vaughn, Devin Neal, and Cody Schrader. And I think you can also make an argument Devin Neal has taken over more games at a better rate than any of those two. Like, if you can probably pick out some games, I think they're in the same conversation. I think they're at the level. I'd also maybe say DJ Giddens is incredibly underrated. He's probably 4th. But I think – and Mizzou and Kansas State have had some great teams over the last years, but they haven't had a guy like Devin Neal.
Yeah.
And so I hope they can appreciate that.
I was there at Arrowhead on Saturday, and during the senior day festivities, Devin Neal got a standing ovation. So I thought that was well deserved, and then he backed it up with 4 touchdowns and probably one of the best individual performances in any game that I've seen in person in college football.
KU as a whole played awesome. I mean, I thought their defense did as good as they could have against a solid Colorado offense.
If you had flipped the records on the screen, I don't think, and just like erased from everyone's mind what happened for the first 10 weeks or 11 weeks of the season, I think most people would agree. And I actually think I saw some stat that like 6 million people watched that KU Colorado game.
Yeah. Well, it was perfect time slot. It was Arrowhead. It was Dion. Because, I mean, Colorado's kicking themselves. They could have gotten in the college football playoff, you know.
Yep.
I think making an argument they're the best team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree with that, but, like, if you want to make that argument, I'd say that's fair. So, either way, fun Saturday. I'm looking forward to wrapping this up to see how everything plays out. And then at this time next week, Gabe and I will be talking about how somehow Mizzou and Kansas State both ended up in the college football playoff. How did that happen? I don't know. No, that won't happen. Okay, one bit of new conversation here on KC Sports Night, because we know our loyal listeners and viewers watch every single show. Introducing a new topic that happened a few days ago, but still relevant. The Kansas City Royals. They made the biggest move of the offseason, Gabe. Like, I don't think Juan Soto's coming through that door.
Well, I mean, Blake Snell signed with the Dodgers last night, so that's probably the biggest move of the offseason. But
biggest move of the Royals offseason.
Biggest move of the Royals offseason, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, but I would say it's a top 3 move in
yeah.
baseball so far this offseason of just
because obviously the Michael Wacha deal was substantial in the monetary, but that was like not a no-brainer, but like, okay, this game, it's a risk. It's a high risk, high reward, or medium risk, medium reward, because not what it has to do with Brady Singer and Jonathan India and Joey Weimer in itself. Okay, so first of all, for those who don't know, Royals traded Brady Singer to the Cincinnati Reds for Jonathan India, infielder, outfielder Joey Weimer. India, the headliner, who was Rookie of the Year in 2021 for Cincinnati. He was the 5th overall draft pick in 2018, the same year that Brady Singer was drafted. They were both teammates at Florida. Gabe, have you seen that viral clip of Brady Singer yelling at the rain?
I have.
And you know who consoles him?
Yes.
Jonathan
India.
Phenomenal.
It's actually it's wild, like an invisible string.
Taylor Swift reference. T-Swift.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that up. That just made my day. Okay. So that's the background. Why I say it's high risk, high reward. Gabe, last year, and right now, I think the Royals are better on paper today than they were, because we saw that the value of a 4th starting pitcher is nowhere near as much as a leadoff hitter or even just another bat in the Royals lineup. The Royals needed more bats. They had too much starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So, no-brainer, right? Where I look at the risk is now one of the strengths of the regular season was your depth of starting pitching. And it made up for an offense that at times, was lackluster, and especially at times a bullpen that was really bad. And you had that depth that got you in the playoffs in the first place. And then you had 3 strong starting pitchers in the postseason, and potentially a fourth if you needed it, which you would have needed if you go to the ALCS or the World Series, or even if you weren't able to clinch, like the Royals were able to clinch on that Friday night, then they might have needed Brady Singer in that wild card series. They were close to that. So now, though, everything moves up. Now Alec Marsh or Chris Bubich is your number 4. Maybe Kyle Wright. Maybe if you bring back like Michael Lorenzen. Maybe if they sign a big free agent, then okay. But I think the risk is, for the next 2 years, you're counting on Brady Singer not being better than Cole Reagans, Michael Watkins, Seth Lugo, which I don't think he will be. However, you're also counting on health. And Brady Singer's never been hurt. He's still young, whereas Cole Reagans has been hurt. Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha are older in their career. I think in order for this trade to be a success, you need Reagans, Lugo, and Wacha pitching at a high level and healthy in both postseasons, or someone else emerge and really become a Brady Singer type, like a Chris Bubich, like an Alec Marsh, which is possible, but that is unknown. So when I say the risk is, if any of those top 3 go down, suddenly Alec Marsh is your 3 starter heading into like a postseason. Or
Kyle Wright is probably your...
We've not seen Kyle Wright pitch in a long time, and he has one good year. I would love that, but you can't say that with confidence.
I say it with... I can't believe that I am like the more optimistic Royals viewpoint on this than you in this stance. I think that
Kyle Wright is what you're hanging your hat on? Okay.
I spent a good portion of the 2024 summer watching Brady Singer when he pitched against really good teams. Not look as good as he did when he pitched against bad teams.
Yes.
And he kind of feasted on... I understand that his availability is an extreme positive in his ledger on this side. I would argue that once they got Wacha done, you're not betting on injuries happening. You're planning in case of an emergency, and the in case of an emergency injury situation of, okay, we can start Kyle Wright, move him up in the lineup. We can make Chris Bubich a starter. We can hope that Alec Marsh becomes a 5+ as your 4th guy.
Which I think is possible.
If multiple injuries happen, you're probably just out of luck. Like, that's just typically something that does in for teams, and that happened to the Twins. We saw the Twins have a revolving door of starting pitchers in August and September in 2024.
And so you're relying on similar health.
Yes, but you also can't sustain the level of reliance on just Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi producing everything for the offense.
Yes.
And so there is a trade-off where you're betting on the starting pitching is going to be a little worse.
Yes.
You want the offense to be better, and you expect for the bullpen to look
100%.
more like August and September bullpen than it did the atrocious April or the mediocre May that
and
it was.
You have more starting pitching depth now than you did last year, because Bubich was a starter in the minors, but then came up. Daniel Lynch now looks better.
Alec Marsh
agree.
has like Alec Marsh was a top 3-round pick for a reason.
I'm high on him, but they traded for Michael Lorenzen last year and sent him down for a reason.
Yeah,
I don't know how high they are on him.
Yeah,
at least last year.
But we'll see. I mean,
I'm fine with Marsh as a 5-star.
I felt better for the Royals in their pitching development under the Quatrero leadership and the new coaching staff than previously, and thus I just have not blind faith. I would say decent evidence for good faith in the Royals pitching plans being okay.
That if someone goes down, they'll be able to step up. I agree. But that's where I put that's where I put the risk in this, is that, okay, you're banking that India will help make up, India and whatever Wimmer can be will help make the offense X amount better, making up for however worse the starting rotation gets. And it's a possibility, but India, also someone the Reds are like, no, we've got guys that are better than him. Now, the Reds have a stacked infield. However, he's someone that, after his rookie year, hasn't been a star. There's questions about, okay, how's he going to play in Kauffman? I think he'll play better in Kauffman because he's not a home run hitter, but we don't know his position really. I just think it's – and just for the record, since it's pulled up, Kyle Wright, if he's Chris Medlin, best case scenario in my opinion. Like, I have so low expectations just because in his entire career, his ERA by year, 4.50, 8.69, 5.21, 9.95, 3.19. Ooh, over 30 starts. Then last year, 2 years ago, 6.97. So he has one awesome year, and then he hasn't pitched since 2023. If he's anywhere near that guy, yes, he's your 4 starter. But, like, expecting that?
Fair.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry.
I think that offensively, I am really optimistic that a team that got one of the best seasons that has ever happened in Royals history out of Bobby Witt Jr., you don't even need to expect – he doesn't even have to be as good in that regard if he just has somebody who gets on in front of him more frequently.
100%.
And India walks at one of the best rates in baseball. Yeah, fifth best rate in baseball of walking. And just having someone who gets on base in front of him gets Bobby better pitching and gets him more opportunities where a guy's on first or a guy's on second for big innings. I think that is so huge.
I agree.
And Michael Massey's been dealing with the back injury. You can platoon left at second base if you need to with India and Massey.
Right. Well, ideally you'd like them both in the lineup a lot.
Yes.
But if need be, I agree. This is not me in saying that the Royals didn't need a leadoff hitter, didn't need bats. I just wonder if you keep Brady Singer and you trade Alec Marsh for less value, or you keep Brady Singer and you trade Chris Bubich, or you trade a higher prospect. You know, do you trade Blake Mitchell, for instance? I'm not saying they should, but like, okay, do you trade someone like that? Or do you also go and spend? Do you sign, a couple hitters, or do you go in and spend a lot of money on Jerickson Profar? He's someone of that ilk, I'm okay with this, but I think that was I think those other things were safer. Like, you run it back, we know this, like, having 4, like, Brady Singer had 17th best ERA in the American League last year, and 2 years ago he had the 12th best ERA in the American League. In between, not very good. But, like, you kind of, there's value there, all right? And the value of having him as your 4th starter mitigates the risk of injury, adds the depth, and I think then if you look to improve your offense in other ways, that's probably what I would have done. But
I would have traded Brady Singer for that.
But I'm okay with it because you're selling Singer, I think, at his peak. I think he's not going to have as good of a year next year. I think you're right about the bad teams versus good teams. However, a lot of people act like, then he has – no. Having a pitcher that can crush bad teams
is good, yeah.
Is really valuable.
Yeah.
Like, and he was also not awful against good teams. Like, he was still solid, or that's how you get a 17th best ERA in the league. So I understand it. I'm fine with it. I think on paper, no doubt the Royals are better today than they were a week ago. No disagreement. I'm just a little worried.
We'll see. They're like 2 of the 4 things on their offseason checklist of re-sign Waka, find a leadoff hitter, find a 5-hole,
I'd
shore up the bullpen.
Don't know if a 5-hole hitter is still coming.
We'll see.
But that'd be great. That'd be for it. I think they're better. I just
Juan Soto.
But in the 5-hole, wait a minute. No. If he's at 5, something's going wrong.
Slide him down.
Yeah, okay.
Slide him down.
So either way, I like the aggression, or I'm okay with the aggression, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, position fit is another question as well. All right, Gabe, 30 seconds. Thanksgiving, what are you going to be watching tomorrow? Our boy, Drew Lock.
Oh, boy. He made that. He's going to make that game a lot more watchable in Dallas. I'm going to watch Caleb Williams and the Bears against the Lions.
Okay.
That's on KCTV. And then I'll keep it on KCTV
Company man
to watch
Illinois, Arkansas
at the
How do you
T-Mobile
spell John
Center.
Calipari's name? Do you know?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That should be a fun one.
Yep, and then I'll be here for your news at 5 and 6 tomorrow.